Yes, and this is Miss Sophie.
King Sebastian, Queen Alexandra of Exeter. Piacere.
Queen?
King.
Oh. Ma, you knew?
I use the Google.
Madone! Nona!
The degree to which they're like, I use it to Google. I'm making a rocket.
I'm making
It's a me. It's a Sophie.
I'm making a search query. I refined a search query by using a quotes to find a more specific answer.
I updated my Bayesian prior.
I ask a chat GPT. I make a chicken and make everybody very sick.
They say use a naphthalene from the old country.
Cool. Well, it's all that subtle. I think everyone's gonna.
You know what time of year it is? It's Christmas time. I gotta tell you something real about Christmas. Fuck you if you don't like Christmas. Fuck you if you don't like Christmas. Yeah, that's right. It's not even about Jesus. It's about the holiday. You gotta respect the holiday.
Broadcasting from the beautiful Uncanny Valley, it's Christmas Town with Dave and Jeb, your source for highlights and analysis of the films of the Hallmark Network, movies made for the gentlest of people. I am a gifted child with all the freedom and none of the direction, and joining me is a small business owner with all the direction and none of the freedom, David J. Roth.
How true that is.
Did I say my name was Jeb Lund? I didn't.
It is, though. Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, sure.
That's Jeb Lund. I'm David Roth, and welcome to It's Christmas Town, movies made for the gentlest of people.
On the 6s and 7s, we've got, I don't.
Yeah, we're about to get the let out, which will be nice for everybody, I think.
Yeah, no, we have to do this. We have to be focused and efficient. There were some letters to Santa. We've gotten some terrific letters with some sample plots and some thank yous that I mean to get to, and we're going to have to get to in the next episode. I've got an amazing software update for the engineering for the show that we can get to at some point, but that's also going to have to be the next episode because you've got to go out and watch somebody run.
I have to go watch one of my closest friends from since I was in elementary school is running the New York City Marathon. And the app that you can use to track runners is just unusably bad this year, like impossibly ass. So I just want to give myself enough of a chance to get out there. And then, if I'm within range and he's running the pace that he's set out to run, which I believe he will, then all I have to do is be able to pick out one guy who looks exhausted and is Italian from tens of thousands of people streaming down First Avenue in Manhattan.
Is the Italian community, would you say that's well represented in New York, David?
Well, there's some of it. That's actually interesting because this dovetails well with a movie that I watched recently that I believe that you've also seen.
Oh, that sounds very topical.
Yes, it does. So this is, so we're watching Love at the New York City Marathon. It's from 2026. We got an early print. They're still making it.
Mark Wahlberg's younger brother is in it.
Charlie, not Donnie. Darren Wahlberg is in it. I think it was Extra Hot Great. Somebody was talking about the new Donnie Wahlberg show, which is called Boston Blue. And it's about being a good police, being a real murder police in the city of Boston. And it is apparently just shot in Canada with the most flagrant disregard for the layout of Boston. Like just the basic realities of what the city looks like and how people inhabit it and get around it. Mm-hmm. And that would be a good segue as well to the movie that we watched this week. Because, well, this is about the Italian-American community in New York. There's some Italian people in it. There is not a single American person in this, and it is...
Yes.
Like, I wasn't offended by it, but I could see how someone might be.
For the sake of clarity and establishing the record here, we watched A Royal Queen's Christmas.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for dialing the KSM levels up just slightly.
Yeah, just to get a little resonance in there. From, I believe, 2021's Countdown to Christmas Countdown. They've counted, but we're going back and we're double checking. There's some questions about the count.
So if you're in line, stay in line. This is one where when we picked the movie, it was mostly just, what was available to DVR at the time. But Jeb was like, remember, we don't have to do Christmas movies anymore. We did that for a whole year. And I was like, okay. And then just picked the most absolute, like, gooey, fucking cannoli filling ass Hallmark movie from this felt like 5 years older than 2021 to me.
It really did. This really does feel like a 2017, 2018 vintage where they've got like this slightly better digital cameras and everything's a little bit crispier and a little less grain, but is otherwise still caught in the classic Hallmark mind prison.
Yes, it is. This is like, I mean, whatever. We have given ourselves the opportunity in recent years to watch better movies on here. And I think that like, that's nicer for us. I don't know that the episodes for listeners who presumably are not watching any of these movies are any better for that. But it did feel kind of throwbacky in that way where I was kind of like, we can't get, like, you couldn't have gotten one of the fucking guys from Suits to play a supporting role in this. Like, you couldn't get, like, there's no Buckley in it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if people are more entertained when the movies are worse, this is definitely like Dave and I eating the chicken's head while it's still alive. Like, this is really, this is some severe carnival geek shit happening. Because, I mean, I think as a starter, and I think you want to kind of really lean on this, and I think that you're not wrong. Given the details of where things take place in this is like basically around the corner from my former editor, Megan Carpentier's house, where my son and I stayed a couple Thanksgivings ago. Because, you know, hey, free place
I offered
to stay.
To punt your child back there.
That's correct, yes. So, of course, like, this is literally nothing like it. And as I was watching it, I was getting into a debate with somebody else who I conned into paying attention to significant portions of this as I was conveying details. Like, this is a Long Island Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes?
Or Staten Island. I mean, just given the layout of it. So this is the thing with, I mean, Hallmark in general is that, like, apartments are the places that you leave. Apartments are things that, like, you can have one as a young, successful person, but you don't want to live there.
Herpes. You don't want to tell people about it. You hopefully want to suppress it.
Yeah, it looks like an Airbnb. There's just like a lot of like empty picture frames on the wall. Everything is that kind of like gunmetal gray, flipper type aesthetics. It's not 100% what you want. It's supposed to be set in like Italian American Queens. And it's not apartment stuff. It's like row houses and stuff. It's actually like very gracious living. But it looks, this is more of like a Staten Island thing where it's like a suburb inside the city. And then also it is just very obviously Canadian and like all of the kind of aesthetic markers of Toronto for New York or whatever. They're like sort of there, but this is the real 2016 part, is that like they just don't fucking give a shit. They're just like rolling the dice and letting it happen.
Which is at least sort of funny because like Queens is the stand-in for everything else. It's like the cheap option. The Americans was shot there and that was like cheaper than being DC.
Yeah.
So you're taking the one part that would be maybe the most accessible of all and being like, no, we got to fake that one too.
Yeah. And also I will say this much, Queens, I love as a borough. Like my sister lives out there with her family. I don't want to make it sound like I'm bragging about my cool big city life, but my wife and I were out there watching a very competitive youth soccer game in Forest Hills yesterday. So there's a lot to offer, but it is also like everything is in Queens, every nationality, every ethnicity. It looks like a city. Like, not to say that I thought Hallmark was actually going to go to like Whitestone or Astoria and be like, this is it. Like, we're going to shoot this on the run. We're going to do it Safdie Brothers style. And there's going to be a prince in it who's concealing his identity. Like, I didn't think that they were going to do that, but it is the most slapdash vision of Italian American life and also of Queens imaginable. Like, it is really low effort. That said, I didn't hate it. It's just like, it's not good. And it's kind of like, and I feel like they left, I was like disappointed in it. I wasn't mad. I was disappointed, I guess would be what I would say.
There is a sort of sense of nostalgic returning to going back to a movie where like every plot beat is going to be resolved by like, what would a 10-year-old think is the nimblest way out of this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it feels rewarding if you've acculturated yourself to that perversity in the same way that, like, let's say if you gave me a can of Milwaukee's Best and I cracked it open and took a sip, it would of course be vile and nobody should drink it. And yet it is so familiar.
Yes, I was going to say a flavor from a bygone time.
Like, takes me back.
Yep. But that's the sort of, I think that's like a good comparison there too, because it's the sort of thing where like you can have nostalgia for justifiable, like real nostalgia without appreciating it. Like, you don't have to, just because it was a part of your life doesn't mean you have to be like, I miss how you would get a headache instantly as soon as you smelled it before you even started drinking it.
There is a really, I think, important macro lesson for America in general here about the value of pursuing something that is a nostalgic signifier without questioning what it brings you.
Yeah. Really? What do you think it is? What?
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Okay, Dave, since we are doing this on the clock, we're going to go ahead and do the cast rundown as quickly as possible. And this is going to be a cooperative thing because I haven't had the time to take the notes I customarily would. Again, we watched 2021's, we think, A Royal Queen's Christmas, starring Megan Park as Dee Dee Peretti, an Army veteran who has returned home and is a little bit aimless right now. Julian Morris as Prince Colin of Exeter. He is the Dauphin of Exeter. Michael Hanrahan as Whitby. He is the prince's
factotum.
Yeah. He's sort of a cross between Jeeves and the guy who kills people for Kevin Spacey's character in House of Cards. He's a swallowtail coated button man for the prince, but it was mainly like his executive assistant. Nicola Correa Damoud is Zoe, the cousin to Dee Dee. She is also the head baker of Rossi's Bakery, which is their family bakery. Ramona Milano is Angie Peretti, that's mom. Dan Lett is King Sebastian, that is Prince Colin's dad. Jane Wheeler is Queen Alexandria, that's obviously Prince Colin's mom. Janelle Gunderson is Duchess Adriana, a potential love interest for the prince who is introduced somewhere in there. And then Ellie Gamale is Chef Pierre. I've missed a couple people.
Yeah, Tony Napo is her dad, Mickey.
Nice. And then there is the betrothed to cousin Zoe, and I cannot remember his name right now.
Oh, I have it in front of me here. Eddie.
Eddie. What is the actor's name?
Played by Tony Ofori.
I think we've not seen any of these people, which is why we've done a little bit of a slapdash thing. There's no other episode to call you back to.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of these people are necessarily recognizable to anybody, except, Dave, you noted a few people.
Well, Megan Park had a good, solid run as a Hallmark sort of leading lady. She also was in 100 odd episodes of, I'm trying to see just how many, 121 episodes of The Secret Life of the American Teenager between 2008 and 2013. That is what she is best known for. Started making Hallmark movies in 2015 and has sort of stayed with it on a fairly regular cadence up until A Royal Queen's Christmas, which is her last movie as an actor. She became almost immediately a very acclaimed independent film director, and whose films I've seen. I saw one of the two that she's made. She made one called The Aftermath, which was a very early Jenna Ortega credit and did very well at festivals. And then she made a movie that came out in theaters in 2024 called My Old Ass, with, among the other names that you would recognize in it, is Aubrey Plaza. And it's excellent. It's like a really cute coming of age thing about a teenage girl who is visited by the future version of herself.
See, that conflicts with what I understood, which is that it's about your mom.
It's all right. That's enough. It's not. Talk to me like this is all right. We're not. Matt Leib's not on the podcast. We're not talking about. But we love Matt. So what's interesting about My Old Ass, which I do recommend, is that it is like, in a lot of ways, kind of redolent of Hallmark, that there is kind of a tenderness and a goofiness to it that is really appealing. It is like kind of a gimmick plot in its way. And yet it is like famously like the thing that we always talk about when there's like a Hallmark movie that seems good to us. And we're like, what if they just took an extra week and had another few $1 million to spend on it? That is that movie.
Okay.
And it's lovely. And I read a bunch of interviews with her about making it, and she, I think, had a pretty, not a like totally gnarly time on Secret Life of the American Teenager, but seemed to have had, as like a young woman in the business, a lot of experiences where she was like, I'm not going to do that. If I ever get the chance to make a movie, I'm going to do it totally different. And it seems like the process that she had, while I don't think it was informed by like Hallmark set trauma, is like the thing that you would do if you were making a movie and you didn't want it to be like a Hallmark movie. Like deep research, collaboration with the actors, like just like spending time with the actors and then writing the screenplay around the ways that they communicate and tell you that they think their characters would communicate.
Okay.
It shows. Like it's just a very carefully made thing. And that, again, I don't want to put words in her mouth, and I've never heard anyone say that working in the Hallmark universe is bad for actors or directors. I think there's a reason why people that do it keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
In all of those things and all of those ways of being like, I just really wanted to get it right, and I knew we were going to be shooting on a tight schedule. And so like I tried to do all this work before we started to make it as good as possible.
Mm.
If you have seen a lot of Hallmark movies, or even if you've just seen this Hallmark movie, like there's definitely a story you can tell yourself where she like walked off the set of a Royal Queen's Christmas and is like, that's it. Never again. We're not doing this. And then just basically went ahead and made 2 movies totally the opposite way.
Fuck it. We're going to one blade.
Yep.
We're just going to do the one blade well. Okay, Dave, I think you probably noticed this when they came out, but I was mistaken. I claimed that it was your turn to do an expositional challenge, the plot in 60 seconds that we stole from our good friends at I Don't Even Own a Television, RIP.
RIP in peace.
It is definitely my turn. I've got to do it this time. I've got to do it next time. I have to try to claw back some of the equity here. So I'm going to have a minute to do this. You're going to time me. You're going to give me some warning if I'm getting too close, but I got 60 seconds total. If I go within the grace period, it'll still count. If I hit 69, the sex number exactly, it'll also count. And if it's good, we get the fun air horn. If I don't do it right, we get the Price is Right.
Which is also still pretty satisfying audio-wise.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, what's not to like about both?
I am ready to go when you are ready to go.
Great. Dee Dee is an 5-year Army veteran who worked with canines, who is back she's back stateside. She's no longer in the military. She's trying to figure out what she wants to do for her life. She's been kind of duffing around for about 6 months. Meanwhile, Prince Colin of Exeter, he loves playing boogie-woogie and jazz music. They call it rock and roll, but it's really kind of boogie-woogie. And his parents don't understand. And, he's just stuck lighting up Christmas trees at this really tiny palace. And then he's got to go to New York for some sort of like international children's charity thing. And he winds up having a meet cute with Dee Dee and crushes her pastries. He's got to help pay her back by playing the piano for her youth choir thing. So he's doing that and they fall in love. But then, his parents show up with Duchess Adriana, a childhood friend who he's not into. And she's not into him. But his parents are won over when they see how much he loves playing piano. When he's like, I care for her, so just grow up and accept it. And they grow up and accept it. And he puts a Christmas ornament on a local Christmas tree, and so does she, and they make a wish. Close their eyes, wake up, realize they got each other as their wish, and kiss, and that's it.
You're going to love this. 69.61 seconds.
Woo!
That's right. They're already calling it one of the most erotic episodes of this podcast.
And honestly, that's saying a lot.
It is.
Because we did have an episode 69. Now, I knew that was going to happen numerically.
At the end of the day, we're sensualists. You know what's a really sensual phrase? At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
It is what it is.
Basically, what it boils down to is...
I'm a sensual guy.
We love pleasures the flesh.
Yeah. Rose petals on a bed. You got the champagne flute, hard-shaped bathtub.
So, what did I miss? What did I miss that was key?
I mean, in terms of the broad strokes, nothing. There's one of the mechanisms through which the plot moves forward is the fancy hotel that our prince is staying at. Supposed to be like the plaza or whatever. The bakery, Rossi's Bakery, gets like a big contract with them through when he crushes her pastries. The chef still likes the stuff enough that they facilitated. And then it is through the delivery of that we wind up with like Colin and Dee Dee getting back together. So that explains the presence of like why Chef Pierre is in the film and like what Eddie is there to do. But otherwise, there isn't really that much stuff. Like there's some Classico style Hallmark activities. There's like a snowman contest, and there's some moments of Colin doing he didn't understand a hammer type stuff when he's confronted with normal people shit. But none of that's plot. Like that's just like incident. Right. So I think you broadly got it. There's not a lot going on in this movie.
There's a couple things I'm picking up just looking at the cast list again. So Zoe is the person who's in charge of Rossi's Bakery. Her boyfriend is at the Grand Park Hotel as the chef and had recommended her to Chef Pierre. And then because he wants 1,500, Dee Dee goes ahead and says, well, we're going to get extra as a rush job and you're going to endorse Rossi's Bakery as, the fancy chef. And then the mechanism, such as there is in the plot that gets Dee Dee and Colin together is like a Hallmark Stations of the Cross where they have a snowman making contest for the local kids in Queens where like a volunteer adult is paired with a kid who doesn't understand snow mechanics. And then there is the ceremonial...
Not at an adult level, not at a graduate level.
No, well, you're pronating too much.
Yeah, that's like, what it is. That's why we got the high-speed camera, so you can watch, you can see.
There's nothing sadder than an 8-year-old who's just blown out his elbow. He's got to be Tommy John'd just to get into fourth grade.
And that's recklessness. That's adult recklessness.
Yeah, the science is there.
Yep. We're joined by Dr. Mike Marshall this week.
So the other thing they're doing is the kids get this annual recital that raises enough money because the budgets have been cut back for the city. This does at like an after school community kind of choir program. And so he is the volunteers like, well, why don't I boogie-woogie and jazz up your Christmas carols? And then that's going to help it enliven and raise more money. And then that's how he winds up on those Stations of the Cross. It ends with the magical ornaments that you hang on the tree. And if you close your eyes, when you open them, the answer to your wish should be revealed to you by what you're looking at.
Yeah. And there he is. Also, I guess what we mentioned too, that like Dee Dee finds her way by getting hired as like to do after school because the recital is such a smashing success that she gets a job like expanding the music program to other schools in Queens.
Oh, and the one other thing is that King Sebastian and Queen Alexandria, they want to retire. Like they want to go and enjoy being rich without having to do ceremonial stuff. So they're telling Whidbey, their son's handler, who's watching him all over Queens and everything and like sort of making sure that he's not up to no good because I guess Colin has this habit. Like they're trying to soft launch Colin as the next generation and pass, the crown to him. The problem is that the nation state of Exeter, which is right next to the nation state of Choate and Deerfield.
They're rivals.
Yes. And who can forget the Exeter-Choate War?
The Phillips and the Andovers. One of the great...
Part of the larger 30 years war over the Reformation and the counter-Reformation of Crewe.
Yep.
In Europe.
The lacrosse title. Yeah, so they are trying to like they want him to be king. He doesn't want to be king. And
but he can't be king until he is betrothed because that is their Salic law, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just primogeniture. It's like only married primogeniture can accede to the throne, which really seems like one of those things that would have left you with somebody like King Sebastian and Queen Alexandria, like 300 or 400 years ago. This system really fucked up.
Yeah.
Like these people they're not from Exeter, Dave. They're like probably Bulgarian, like.
Yeah. With the Hohenzollerns kind of scenario. You got to outsource your royalty.
Like the House of Windsor. These are just Hanoverians.
Yep.
This was.
These people are Germans, Donnie.
These people got here. They couldn't speak a word of English. They don't have any respect for violins. They only respect horns. Listen, don't ask me. Ask Handel. He'll tell you. These people fucked up.
Yeah.
They piss purple. Did you hear about this? They piss purple.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Even by the standards of Hallmark invented royalty, this is low effort work. Usually when they've done it in the past, they're like, the kingdom of Molgravia. Like and so then you have to be like, all right, well, there are, so this is like a gloss on Luxembourg. What a clever idea. In this case, they're just basically like fracturing the idea of the United Kingdom into a series of like lightly contested miniature nation states, each of them ruled by royalty.
It's not like a Premier League heptarchy. It's like it's like a relegation below that.
Yeah. Yep. Whidbey Town FC is like basically if that were that's an imaginary team, but you could figure out what they would be like and where they would play and like what those games, how high quality that soccer would be, and then like if that if that team had a king, it would be these guys.
Hand the God, Dave. Hand the God. Exeter. They're not doing anything against Mercia. They don't have it.
They don't have it. Yeah, and I think also, if you want to get out of the thing that's 2 levels below the championship, you got to focus up. I don't see it.
I'm thinking now, like, there's a whole bit here about how, like, the unwritten rules of whatever sport we're inventing for these people, like, the unwritten rules are called Danelaw, right? No, you don't go in spikes up like that. That's Danelaw.
Yeah, all right. Well, you can see how much work.
Completely redheaded play there, Dave. He's red ass there. He's red ass. He's redheaded. I don't like it.
Redheaded as that. What's that mean? Describing like things that Bobby Kilty would do.
Well,
that is
David, as a Lund, I'm talking about my people here.
I understand.
Right?
I'm sorry.
If you like red hair, you're welcome.
Your culture is not your costume.
Are you listening to me, Ireland? You're welcome.
Look at all the work we have to do to come up with shit for a movie like this.
Before we get to the segments, I just want to say we had a really good time last week with the launch of Bobby McNamara's Garbage Time Cinema.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a live streaming thing we did for our $10 donation tier at patreon.com/thisweekinatrocity. We did not focus enough on the movie.
No. And that's something that we're going to have to solve for the next one, because logistically, I don't know how I can watch the movie and listen to the people that are talking at the same time.
Yeah, like, we're going to have to think about things with subtitles. What we may need to do is just actually like pre-watch it. So we got stuff kind of loaded in the chamber, and then also maybe just do a better job of anchoring it, like streaming audio or something that everybody can hear to kind of pin them down. I don't know, but it was a good time. I want to thank Hera very much. I don't know if she actually is any relation to the Olympians, but
yeah, I would say so.
But like, at least in terms of her work rate during the live show, keeping us all on track with like, this is what happened, by the way.
That's how I know what went on in the movie, because the rest of it was like me and Brandy Brown talking about like where to get ice cream in my neighborhood.
But yeah, no, the edit should be pretty good. It's just not as focused as you would like. But anyway, thanks very much for people coming out. We were worried that we were going to be playing to a really small audience, and we were surprised to meet everybody we got to meet. So
yeah, thank you for supporting our stupid podcast.
Yes, thank you very much. That is good stuff. What follows is not going to be David, it's the segments. And basically, the reason why we started doing these was because of movies like A Royal Queen's Christmas, because it really is indistinguishable, even from other like royal ones that we've seen. I can't quite remember. Number 40, I think was, or 42 episode was when we did Christmas at the Palace. I did that with Sarah Kate. We liked that quite a bit. If you want to watch weird nation states with extremely disturbing founding myths about maybe freezing on the ice, that's where you want to be. That also feels way more European than this, which is, again, relegated Mercian content. David, our first one is Spot the Angel. We watched till the first act break. We guess and see if anybody is a supernatural, secular Santa-like or supernatural angel. I think the only one who might qualify is Whidbey. But
yeah, it's the only one that I had, and I don't think it quite rises to the level of that. I did enjoy the character and performance in Whidbey. It's not a British actor, but it is a guy who is very much leaning into kind of like an upper class accent in an enjoyable way. Like if you just listened to Whidbey's audio track, you would probably get a, mild bit of delight out of it. But yeah, as a character that exists to facilitate developments in the plot, he's the closest we've got to it. But I don't think it's Angel Caliber, Jeb.
No, it's fun. And you've got a little note of like kind of class treason from Whidbey, or like class solidarity, I guess. But I don't know how that really works, given that we're dealing with princes and shit.
Yeah,
but
he's definitely like leaning into the expense account that he presumably has, which is like a decent enough little bit in a movie that is more or less bereft of bits. That bit of it is a nice little recurring runner.
Yeah, like he's about to really, really snifter all in on some what looks like cognac when the king and queen call, and he's like, whoop, whoop.
Oops, pardon me, I'm getting my pedicure.
I wanted to say, like, Michael Hanrahan as Whidbey is definitely providing the most Derek Jacobi notes I've gotten in a Hallmark production yet.
Yep, which is, again, that is a precious thing to find in filmed entertainment and extremely thin on the ground. I don't think that the Hallmark universe has room for that level of like prissy queenery that Derek Jacobi has cornered.
Of all the highlights to get, though, you know, you're not going wrong with that. Like if I'm picking up a few notes of that, as opposed to, I don't know, insert like British character actor you don't care for.
Yeah.
Or
just like a kind of Canadian guy giving you 6.6 out of 10 effort on a part that is going to, you know, whatever, be done in 48 hours.
Also, I got to note, this guy, he's basically buttling the whole movie.
Yes.
No farts. Not a single fart.
Nope. That's professionalism too. So yeah, I guess in that case, you got to credit the director for making sure that he wasn't eating a diet that could disrupt the film. And you've got to credit Michael Hanrahan for being out there being like, I'm acting right now. So even if my character would be farting, I can't be.
I want to get audio right now of like fucking like Merrill Hodge or somebody. Like you open the hole and you seal it off.
You don't. In this case, you don't run to daylight. Do not.
Keeping things appetizing. We are at Eat Your Heart Out, where we talk about if the food in the movie is weird, quintessentially Hallmark. I was pleasantly surprised, to see a lot of food again. And also pleasantly surprised that, notwithstanding some Hallmark ornamentation, looked largely good. Yeah.
So this is the thing that it's an interesting split, because the food that you see on screen does not, like, there's a bit where it's Dee Dee's had a tough day and her mom comes upstairs and is like, I brought you some antipasto.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it's a wood for me. It's fine. It's like a little oaf mode. It's a little like we went to the supermarket. But like, you know, you see Megan Park pop a bocconcini into her mouth and I'm like, damn, I wish that was me. Like, I love to eat those little mozzarella balls. That's like a rare level in a Hallmark movie where you see people eating stuff and you're like, that looks good as hell. I'm a little hungry.
It is a Hallmark in that, like, I brought you a plate of antipasti to like cheer you up. It's large. It's not like she brought her a couple slices of prosciutto and like maybe a little thing of some Parmesan and a cluster of olives. It's like, it's very much like, let's say if you were at a Greek or Italian restaurant, they had a series of appetizers and you can't decide, and then you get to the very bottom, and for $32 there's one with a little bit of all.
She brought her the damn sampler is what she brought her. That is not like one of those things where it's like, I rolled up 3 pieces of copa and put a freaking toothpick through it. It's the whole thing. Like, she did it. And then later on there's like the big Italian, like, you know, mangia fest. And that stuff it looks like hotel food, but it doesn't look like bad hotel food. It's just like, so this is the bit that's like the actual Hallmarky stuff. Every time they talk about Italian food, you're like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, what is going on here? Like, it seems to have very little. At one point, the mother's like, I could throw together some cioppino for you. And that is just not true. The idea of like, got like 4 types of seafood in your fridge and like some shrimp stock that you made, and it's being like, it'll be ready in 3 hours, but I think you're going to be really happy with it. Like, it's just, they just picked an Italian sounding dish. And then there's another one where Mickey's like, your mom's got some chicken caprese in the oven, and I was like, I don't know what that is though.
No,
I think you made that up. Like, do you mean? It's that level of attention to detail permeates the entire film. It's just like, obviously it would bother me the most when I'm like, you were going to let me think about like a big bubbling tray of eggplant parm, and instead you just made something up.
So I kind of think the chicken caprese thing was just invented solely to show us a moment where they are pulling 4 abundant chicken legs out of a toaster oven.
Yes.
That's a very nice toaster oven. But they pull it out and it's just like 4 large chicken legs with what looks like a sort of larger circle of maybe a mozzarella ball and then some tomato on top of it. And like, that's not the way that those things would interact with oven.
Yeah. Like, I think you've just got, that's the bit of it. It's like what you want is chicken parmesan is what you're trying to say. Like, if we're dealing with New York City, and I don't know, I can't hire myself out as a consultant for tri-state area set Hallmark movies. That's not a job that exists. I looked it up. So there's like chicken caprese. It's like
you in a fucking director's chair with like a fucking visor and be like, that's a nice guy, but it's not a hero. Okay.
Yep. Like touching the director on the shoulder and passing a note that says hot peppers on it. That's why they pay me $20,000.
Just like a bullhorn crackling on set.
More jardinera.
Yep. You heard the man. He's our first assistant director for New Jersey style overstatement.
So that Italian dinner, they have the chicken, and they also have like a charcuterie board.
Yeah.
With the dinner, it's served with it, and it just seems like, oh, that's not there's an order to these things. It is teeming. They hallmarked it where the entire rectangle is covered.
Yep.
They got two cheeses. They got grapes. Yep. They have an absolutely miserly amount of prosciutto, but then weirdly they have these like fronds of what looks like rosemary as an accent on there.
Yes.
And like, I can't think of any way in which I would want rosemary with this unless it's already part of the cheese.
You don't crush a couple of raw sprigs of rosemary in there. I had some thoughts about that, obviously, because I just have in my notes, I just have rosemary underlined a couple of times. Like, you would think that something important had happened in the film at that moment, but it was not. It was just you and me both being like, well, you wouldn't put that on there. It's not an herb like that. But I wonder if it's because it looks seasonal. It's like the most Christmassy of the herbs aesthetically.
Well, I mean, so that could be the same thing that's going on with the pasta that they serve has like huge bits of basil on top, but they're not torn up. They look like, well, we wanted something green on there. It looks like cacio e pepe or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
and again, though, it's like not terrible. Like, we've sure seen bummier looking food here, but it is, if you're going to the trouble of like having them be like, Italians call like pasta sauce gravy, and then you see it and it's just kind of like, just some ragu shit with like a big one basil leaf sitting on top of it. It's not, you're writing a check that your kitchen cannot cash.
Yeah.
The cheese plate was impressive though, in the sense that it was, even if it was not, accurate or true to any Italian-American house experience that I've had in my life, it did nail the like abbondanza part of it, where there's just like, there's everybody into the fucking pool. There's apricots on there. Like, just go, send it, ship it.
We've used this word in episodes like this in the past, but this is hospitaliano, David.
It is yeah. So the sense that you get watching these scenes, and I don't know if you got this too, did you feel like that when you were there, you were family?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
right.
Yeah. I was like, this is a place where I could lie down and wake up with a backache, and sharing a pillow with a Belgian Malinois.
Yeah. So that is what happens. Although we do see, this is also a classic bit, like right before commercial break, they eat dinner. Prince, whatever, Colin is like, yeah, I keep wanting to call him Julian because it's the actor's name is honestly like more princely than the character's. So he's eaten a bunch. He's about ready to sack out on the couch, and then like drifts away from Megan Park for a moment. And she turns around and her mom's like, I got cannoli, just eat one. And she's like feeding it to him. And the way that it's like kind of paced out, it's like almost, it's not like any of the scenes in the movie Aliens, but it is like, you need to stay close. Like, if you're not on me, if you're not like really on my fucking six, they will find you and they will give you a cannoli. And he got a little sloppy. His shit got a little flaky. And then he was getting fed some sweetened mascarpone cheese right before bedtime.
Macaroon come out at night. Mostly. This one, we just got to do quick because I don't think there's a whole lot we can mention that is not going to be immediately obvious to anybody who's listened to more than, I'd say, like 20 of these. It's the Hallmark Expanded Universe. It's where other Hallmark movies could cross over with this one, or where this one could sort of migrate to characters, events, but principally location here. It's New York City. We don't have a lot of options in New York, except for ones that are pretty crazy or so normal they don't live here.
Yeah.
What did it reflect to you, do you think?
I like the idea, and I don't think we've seen enough. I mean, there's a lot of like movies that are set in New York, but like not very convincingly. The most recent of these that we watched was the episode title was possibly the Hallmark version of Collateral, but it was like Buckley and Chabert driving a fucking Buick Enclave around a fantasy vision of New York City where everyone drives everywhere.
It was the all 22 footage of Collateral. It was it was the multiple collaterals happening parallel to Collateral.
Yeah. Which is the version of New York that I want to live in. That is, I need there to be like a number every 30 minutes or so. Someone should be saying, "Yo, homie, is that my briefcase?" to somebody else in this city. That's where I want to be. Also,
I will stipulate that the bodega that they go to in the fucking Chevy Execution or whatever they have,
the Palmero,
for him as an Uber driver, like that bodega has a higher quotient of authentic Italian cuisine than this movie does. Like
that's
just
true.
Jars of pickles and artichoke hearts in the background. You're like, oh, that's got the stamp, right?
Yeah, that was
all these are
surprising.
Pomodoro to me.
Yeah, DOC ass. Yeah,
that's
that
right.
is. Or I guess DOP, whatever. It's the same bit. Like it does have that, like this is a less authentic version of it, but I do like the idea of there being kind of a parallel Hallmark dream New York with its own neighborhoods. Like the Lower East Side that we visited in a couple of the Hallmark movies, including, if I remember correctly, the dueling deli owner, like lost Hanukkah episode that you are painstakingly piecing back together.
Yes.
Through a series of like an incredibly diseased package of audio recordings that Jeff is breathing some life into.
It is a 65 gigabyte folder now.
Yep. But this is so obviously if anybody wants to ship Jeb an external hard drive, that would be I'm sure much appreciated. But this like feels like this is a neighborhood in the city that also contains that, which is not in any way like the city that I live in, but it does have like, you can sort of start to sketch a map. There is no subway map, although you do see Whidbey in the subway in this, which is one of the first times I think that you see somebody taking big city mass transit in a Hallmark movie.
He's very like, he's not peevish, but he's definitely like slightly alarmed at the fact that he's standing up next to a very dingy Santa who's leaning all over him.
Yep. It's implied that he's like, oh dear.
This to me was like very much of the New York of our less authentic experiences. So the Hainted Hanukkah episode that hopefully should be out preceding this one, that is very much like a Katz's thing. And so like to me geographically, I'm like, well, that's not right? That's Houston, right? So this felt more like, and I can't remember the episode number, but the one with Winnie Cooper, Very, Very Valentine, which is I think in our first 15 or so, where they're going to these sort
set
of like
in Brooklyn.
I think so, but like everything there is sort of saturated in that same Bram Stoker's Dracula red that they've overstated Christmas into being.
Yeah.
And this very much has it, especially when they go to, at one point, Colin is taken by Dee Dee to this bar that she thinks is legendary. And instead of doing the thing like, you've probably been in a bar where they have dollar bills stapled to the ceiling and people have written their names on them, or like Go Knowles or whatever. Only in this case, it's everybody goes in and just hangs a Christmas ornament. So it really does feel like you're in the kind of like the hanging sex gardens of Christmas. It's just this big, like, blood and golden bordello experience. And that visually was like very much where Winnie Cooper was living in Very, Very Valentine.
Yeah, it is funny that like whenever Hallmark is like bum-fuzzled by trying to do like big city stuff, they're just like, God, it's a fucking opium den. Just make it an opium den. Right. I don't have time for this. Put a dragon in it.
So this is one we haven't had much of, I feel, in the last maybe dozen episodes or so. We keep saying like, oh, they skated past it, or this is ordinarily where it would be, but it was handled so maturely that it did not qualify for it. It's Overdetermined. Mm-hmm. It's the moments in the movie where we have inevitably been directed toward them as conclusions. They are so foregone that having these things happen just sort of feels like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Please remove the thumb from the scale. I felt that there were two obvious contenders, and really kind of it came down to a pick 'em. What did you pick?
The one that you've already said, annoyingly, but I do have that in my notes. You mentioned it in the open conversation between Dee Dee and Colin, where she says,
It's funny.
What is?
It's just, you have all this direction and no freedom, and I have all the freedom in the world and zero direction.
and that is true. That is the dynamic in the plot. I had noticed that on my own, but it was nice to hear it spoken aloud, I guess. I don't know, like that. But that, I think, is also indicative of why I'm not going to give this movie like 1.5 stars. It's like, it's fairly economically said. Like it shouldn't have been said. It's not necessary. Like, you don't need to hold my hand. I know how to watch an 80-minute Hallmark movie. But I've had clammier hands around my own, leading me through the very obvious hedge maze of a Hallmark movie in the past.
Yeah, so that one, I mean, it even happens in the classic point of the plot every time. It's anywhere between about minute 40 and minute 47. In this case, I think it's like minute 43. And because I'm watching a Hallmark movie with a secret royal, which we did again with Sarah Kate and Christmas at the Palace. You and I did one
like Love on the Slopes or some shit. Yeah.
Royal Rumspringa in the Denver of the Soul. It's come up. And so that there has to be a moment where the royal designation is revealed, and you have to realize that, like, most people would be like, oh, it turns out that the person I was already falling in love with is fabulously wealthy. They have to figure out a way to make that a problem. And so around 10 minutes after we have that first overdetermined moment, we have the second contender.
Well, I'm sorry that you're not going to be able to play with us tomorrow night. The kids are really going to miss you.
Mickey's wrist is still injured. You don't have a backup.
I'll find someone.
Christmas week?
Yeah, sure. I'll just go scour all the fancy hotel lobbies and ask all the piano players, hey, are you a secret member of royalty? No? Great, you're hired.
Then I'll tell them we don't need their services because I will fulfill my promise.
It's ridiculous. You can't. You're a prince.
And a prince always fulfills his commitments.
Commitments? Is that all this has been to you?
Of course not.
Honestly, it's fine. The kids will just sing a cappella. Now, if you'll excuse me, Your Highness, I have to go clean, like a real person.
And it's the classic problem with almost all Hallmark confrontations that have this degree of overdeterminacy. If any real person had said any single simple, real statement about their real feelings, none of this would happen.
Yep.
And none of the rest of the plot would. So...
Yep. And that's a frustrating one too, because it's like, I don't know if I'd like gotten out of shape at watching your lesser Hallmark movies, but that moment, like my wife was watching it with me, and when that was happening, she was just going like, quit. Right. Like, but there was like the Hallmark quits in this. Like, I think it'd been a minute since we'd like encountered one that was that egregious, where I was like, you could solve this problem in 10 seconds by being normal, and I guess it's to the credit of the films that we've seen that there's been less of that, less of the kind of like face palmy obviousness. But yeah, this one is the throwback in that regard.
I am so glad that Mrs. Roth was quit, because I was so delighted to write that in all caps. It's like old friends.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's been a minute since but it was a warm, nostalgic feeling, the kind that you seek out from watching a Hallmark movie. It's just different for us because we watched 190 of them and completely rewired our understanding of what a movie is supposed to be.
Right. These are like our friends, our fellow combat veterans. We had nothing in common. We weren't from the same parts of the world, and everything we experienced was incredibly traumatic. But
everybody that's been on this podcast is a battle buddy of ours. I think that's fair to say.
He was in the shit.
Dave and Jeb and Foxhole Friends.
So this one could go well, it could go badly. I never really know when we're going into this, because sometimes I feel very confident with what mine is, and then you have a better version, and now it's like, fuck, man. It's crossover. It's when we're crossing over plots, not to other Hallmark movies, but to other media that we might have experienced. David, what did you have for crossover?
This is, I think, not my best answer, but it was the one where I had like first thought, best thought, had to sort of go with it. That like this movie is like if you made Coming to America, but didn't try to make it funny. And so the idea of this, again, like that sort of crossover, that like maybe instead of the Christmas bar, which is what I have it written as in my notes, they could have gone to McDowell's.
Yeah.
The Golden Arcs.
Yeah.
And that there is like a lot of, it's the same plot. It's the same gag with the idea of being like, isn't it funny that they call it Queens, but there's no royalty there. There's just the fucking Mets. which is admittedly like a solid enough bit as these things go. The idea of just like this happening in that milieu of Queens, that version of Queens was the crossover that I had.
I was really hoping that there would be some sort of metatextual nod or acknowledgement in any way that there was a similar premise at work here. And I really hoped that they would do something given the date that this was actually shot and aired, right? Like by that point, we had started to get a little bit more humor. And I thought, come on, just give me one. And there really isn't anything. I mean, I certainly could have missed something, but I was looking for it and didn't find it.
Yeah, this was, and it is like at this point, like Hallmark kidding itself is like, it's like a little soy, like it's never like exactly what you want, but it is like, I do appreciate that they're sort of like, I remember the one that was like Julie Warner and Jim O'Hare, where they were sort of like parallel version, nightmare version of like Pleasantville, where they were just sort of like, yeah, it's just this channel just shows Thanksgiving movies all the time, and everybody got New Year's movies, yes. And that was like, you know, I didn't like laugh out loud, but I was kind of like, well played. Like it was just like a gentlemanly doff of the cap, and they're not even gesturing in the direction of that like very obvious cultural antecedent in this.
No. So the only thing I really had for crossover was I was listening to his piano playing during the recital, and that kind of like oomphing into sort of boogie-woogie and jazz made me think a lot of the playing that Bill Murray's character has in Groundhog Day. And so I was just thinking about like, what would the torture of being fabulously wealthy and privileged by birthright be like if you had to relive it every day? And so he's just like forcing himself to learn like little used but still extant domestic languages.
Yeah,
this is a guy who's taking like Duolingo, but for Manx. You know,
it's the only member of a royal family that could communicate effectively with like the he-teeter guys that live on a distant barrier island off of North Carolina and speak like pirates.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah. Or like some sort of Orkney adjacent thing that was forcibly evacuated after the war and then never repopulated.
Do not say to me Orkney adjacent.
Sorry.
I let you slide on Manx, and maybe I shouldn't have.
If I'd said it about Scotch, you would still be okay with it, right? Like,
true.
Let's just say that there's a clear double standard.
There is. That's fair. No, I have to wear that one.
So we have a segment called the Hallmark Voight-Kampff test, which a listener of ours, Josh Burgle, suggested. Basically, like, who would be a Blade Runner style skin job in this movie, at least relative to the terms of the movie. And I think this one's difficult because of how old Hallmark it is.
Yeah.
But if there's any standout, it's the king and queen, I think.
Yes. Even by the standards that apply to like Hallmark royalty, there's a sort of, they're just like, they respond to everything more or less the same way. Like they're sort of just kind of like, wow, you kind of catch them smiling faintly in a lot of things. And then the decisions that they make seem completely unmoored from anything but the sort of the needs of the plot. They're just cutouts moving grandly with epaulets through one scene or another.
Like we're told that these people have been unnecessarily and like callously obdurate when it comes to accepting his interest in being a musician of some sort, or at least incorporating that art in his life. So like this has evidently been going on for years, and they show up at one recital and then just start beaming, and they're like, you know what, we would love you to do music. And he's like, great, but I want to marry this girl. And they're like, no, absolutely not.
But then like later he's like, I still want to. And they're like, okay.
They are people who reflexively say no until you're like, you know what? I want you to think about it again.
Yeah.
And they're like,
why don't you say that back to me?
Fuck. Okay. All right. Yeah. No. Whatever you need. Yeah. Great.
Which is, again, it's not like you're watching this movie for like anguish or tension or whatever, but there's a part of it where I was kind of like, oh, is that easy, huh? Like, like Dee Dee does like sort of go through it. She's got like all these scenes where she's like, oh, we're from different worlds. Like, again, nothing groundbreaking or whatever. You can see that she's like trying to sort of reason through something. Whereas I guess this actually makes sense if they really are aristocrats, where they just kind of like either don't care or never thought about it before and are just, so in that case, very easy to flip.
Now, just since we're on this topic specifically in these two characters, is there a real villain in this? Because like, again, this is a segment we usually do. Hallmark usually has a bad guy, but there's usually a bad guy in it that Hallmark did not intend. It's usually something to do with like the real life forces around whatever it is they're talking about, that you're like, guys, you're just really kind of missing the forest for the trees here. But this feels so unreal. I'm not sure there is one.
Right. Like the candidates that I have in my notes, all of them are overreaches. Like there's the idea of like aristocratic government, but it's like everybody's really gentle and they don't really care about it. Like we were saying, like the moment that they're sort of pushed on this stuff where they're like, it's a tradition, you must be betrothed. And then it's like 30 seconds later, they're like, you know what? Like rules are made to be broken, right? Isn't that how we do it in Exeter?
Yeah.
And ditto for the like sort of underfunded public school music program. It's like, it still looks really great. And then they instantly get a bunch of like notoriety and money out of it. So it's the kind of thing where it's like, there's no problem that rises to the level of being like palpable as a problem.
It's so weightless. I don't think that it even, you can translate it to the real world and say, here's how this analog would operate. Because like, as you just said, for the after school program, for instance, Dee Dee doesn't know what to do with her life. And her pitch is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to organize this thing that I keep telling you is completely unfunded.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's great. You're going to be a great coordinator.
Yeah.
Classic Hallmark job. What do? I coordinate events.
Yeah.
What? Fundraisers. What for? Who knows?
Children.
Who pays you? No one can say.
Yeah.
In
Right.
fact, no one needs to, because like I'm just going to go around the corner and somebody's going to be like, Bubby, have the macaroon. I'm sorry. I know that's not.
It's a good cookie, though.
We've done this actually in the previous episode, the Hallmark crossover between their Jewish characters and their Italian characters. Are just,
it's just basically, I have it in my notes as just the ethnics, like during the scene when they're like being introduced to the royalty and they're like, this is my nonna. And she's like, piacere. Like, but it's just like, it's not different. It's just the sort of thing where it's like, they're like the, white kind of, but like not all the way or whatever.
like double income, no kids, white, no picket fence.
Yep. Dinkwimps. They're trying to sort of like underline, it's like, it's Queens, everybody's there. Like, like Mrs. Rodriguez comes into Rossi's too to get her Schwuyadel or whatever. But it's all so slapdash that there's not like, the ethnicity is entirely communicated through ideas of food. And even those ideas of food are not really fully sort of held. So there's not any of like the ethnic or class tensions are so flimsy that you can just blow right through them.
It is ethnicity once it's reached the EPCOT stage.
Yep. Which, again, is like, do I expect anything different from Hallmark? Like, no, not really necessarily. But it is, it would be more interesting if they tried a little harder.
Time to rate the movie. We have a 5-star rating system, although we can do decimal points if we really need to. 5 stars is a family movie that Hollywood could just sort of release in winter. All right, it's not going to make a lot of money. It's good enough. 4 stars, the juiciest taco, so named after the best food in Vancouver's wettest park. 3 stars, there are some solids. 2 stars, very soft cheese. 1 star, sugary, extremely wet.
Extremely wet.
David, you said you weren't going to give it a 1, but
I think I'm going to give it like 2.5, which is probably generous. I didn't hate it. I thought everybody was kind of doing their best. And there were little sort of flashes of, and again, I do tend to over-index for these because I appreciate them, where like the writing is actually like either silly in a funny way when Colin comes up with a last name for himself, which he doesn't have. In a pinch, it's because he sees a St. Bernard dog walking by and introduces himself as Colin St. Bernard.
Yes.
And there's another bit, which I guess is like intended to be heartfelt, where Zoe is kind of like consoling Dee Dee about the relationship. And she's like, we're from different worlds. She's like, a bird and a fish can fall in love, but where are they going to live? And that actually is like kind of good. Like I sort of dig that.
Right.
But it is like, I am cherry picking the stuff that is not absolutely rote. But there's enough of it that I would go, I mean, if like 2 is basically my baseline, like I have to be really pretty mad at a movie to go below that. 2.5 is like, that half a star is like some decently charming performances and a few good lines.
I'm sure it comes as no surprise. That's exactly where I wound up. There's nothing that I can feel any real anger for about this movie. They didn't do something tacky or stupid. They didn't make one character so vile or obnoxious or just implausible as to kind of make everything else fall apart. It is not real. It is mostly preposterous, but it is consistent in doing that. And everybody's, fairly charming. Everybody's doing the best they can with stuff they shouldn't have to work with. I appreciated that Colin evidently can play piano. That was nice, as opposed to showing a guy like rocking back and forth like Ray Charles from the opposite side of the Steinway. So you can't actually see the keys. That was fine. Yeah, there were a couple bits where I was like, that was pretty charming. I really like the fact that bit about, a fish and a bird can fall in love, but where will they live? They call it back just a few minutes later where it turns out that that's her grandma's line. Yeah. And her grandma just went, fuck it, and eloped. And, they made it to Ellis Island and then finally Queens. And that didn't feel like fake old world. Yeah. It felt like a decent enough aphorism. Like I can see myself using that in the future and never properly crediting it.
Yep. And honestly, I would be happy. It would be an amazing thing to eventually get busted if you were like saying that a lot and people are like, damn, he's plain spoken but wise. And then so if there was one person in the audience that was like, no, that's from Royal Queen's Christmas 2021. One of the coldest owns a person could absorb.
Yeah, the Rockwell freedom of speech guy standing up like, sir. Yeah. So if you really want to embarrass us like this, what you first have to do is help us make the show very popular.
Yes.
And then we're fucked. So
we will embarrass ourselves.
Yeah. Tell your friends like a reckoning, like a hard rain's going to come.
Yeah.
But in order for those clouds to form, they first have to listen. Yeah. Thank you.
Well said. You stole that from an Italian grandma.
And with that, we are at the leftovers. It's anything that we didn't get to before or forgot to get to, or that just didn't belong anywhere else. Mine are going to be a little bit messy. Dave, what did you have to start us off?
I sort of did the Megan Park part of this at the beginning as a filmmaker and whatever. But Julian Morris, who's done a few Hallmark movies and has another one in the pipeline, has had an interesting sort of run for this type of guy. Like he's just like a young, handsome British guy who, as Jeb pointed out, can play the piano. And he did some of the stuff that you would do as an actor at that level, 20 odd episodes of Pretty Little Liars, which is a classic made in Canada feeder for Hallmark stuff. But he had a great arc as a character named Ryan Goes-in-You in The New Girl, a very funny boyfriend.
Oh, man.
The name is really wonderful as well. That was...
Yeah.
Oh, I believe he also plays piano in that as well, so that might have been something they were leaning into. But I want to, and he has a Hallmark movie coming up with the great Mae Whitman, who is somebody that I think would do terrific work in the Hallmark universe.
Yeah,
you're allowed to do her if you want, but we're fans of Mae Whitman. She was Egg
she's
in
a good
Arrested
Egg,
Development, but she's also a charming performer who would do well in this. But thing that came out in 2017, and I wondered if you knew about it. So this is the most easily identifiable credit outside of the ones where he's identified as Prince something or other. Julian Morris played Bob Woodward in a 2017 miniseries, which is like very star-studded, about Mark Felt, who was part of the Watergate,
He was Deep Throat.
He was Deep Throat. So this is 2017. Liam Neeson, Diane Lane, Michael C. Hall, Noah Wyle, Micah Monroe, Tom Sizemore, and Julian Morris as Mark Felt. If anyone has seen this film or has proof that it exists, it's a miniseries, I would love to know about it. I have no idea where it ran. I've never heard of it before in my life. And I, not to brag, but I think I'm pretty on top of things that Diane Lane is doing for personal reasons that I don't need to go into here. So I was surprised that he had another big credit like this.
Well, I'm not going to tell any of the other wives mentioned on this podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, geez. If Hillary Burton finds out about this, I'm fucked.
I'm just going through and noticing that I wrote down some lines that I really enjoyed. I'm going to do a couple of these, and you're welcome to take it back from me. But one I liked about the cooking that Dee Dee was exposing Colin to.
A delicious free meal. Might just need new trousers when I return.
Eating a meal?
A second Christmas meal?
Enjoying a Christmas chicken caprese? This is democracy manifest. That's what I say when someone gives me a freaking Italian dessert that I didn't ask for after a large meal.
There is a kiss fake out about halfway through when they are looking at the storefronts on what's meant to be their like analog to FAO Schwartz. And they're inventing what these characters you'd see in the window may be doing. And he says, oh, they elope. And you're like, oh, he's already thinking about it. And she says, no, they have a big wedding they've been planning forever with their family. And they almost kiss. And then she says, I know a really good place around the corner to go to. And of course, like knowing people who grew up in New York, I'm like, it's a park for discreet hand jobs.
Yep. I thought they'd turn that into a condo. I didn't realize that Handjob Park, Midtown South, was still there.
We haven't talked about this. Maybe we need to. The opening song by the singer of Santana Smooth featuring Rob Thomas.
Yes, there's... It's always weird when you recognize. Sometimes it's like Bublé. It's like almost always Bublé. But when an actual popular culture voice that you recognize shows up in a Hallmark movie, there's part of me that's because I'm just like pocket watching on these cheap ass movies. I'm sort of like, well, how much did you pay a lot of money for Rob Thomas, and now the whole rest of the movie had to be shot in 4 days? Is that like where you landed on this production wise? But maybe it's not as simple as that.
It's like Mike Trout's contract in the middle of the payroll. You're like, I love seeing him, but there's got to be 8 other batters. And another early one that I enjoyed in this was when Dee Dee is trying to explain why the pastries have been absolutely leveled. She explains,
some guy in the lobby decided he was playing running back for the Jets, and wham.
Yeah, I like that little bit of he thought he was Johnny Hector or Freeman McNeil over here.
Friggin' Curtis Martin over here.
He thought he was playing running back for the Jets. He ran into me, fell 3 yards backwards, dropped the thing he was carrying. Another guy picked it up and ran the other way.
Dave, the Times of Exeter has all kinds of questions for the Jets about their plans for the offensive line. And
the idea of all the videos of the Jets duffing draft picks by drafting the tight ends every year, but everybody in the crowd they're like, no, Kyle Brady.
The sort of murmuring you hear when the prime minister at question time absolutely just flubs something
in the background.
Harumph!
Whidbey with the Fireman Ed helmet on, just jeering the Christian Hackenberg pick. He knew it was bad the moment they made it.
All right, I only got a couple more things, and let's get us the heck out of here so you can watch people sweat.
Streets of New York.
The Exeter Embassy in New York is 10 times larger than the fucking Palace of Exeter. And then another observation that I enjoyed, I don't know if you picked up on this, but Zoe and Dee Dee's accents, the dial gets cranked to 11 when they talk to each other, and then they forget as soon as anybody else is involved.
Yep. They're phasing in and out. The accents, again, it's an entirely Canadian cast. So some people are really committed. Dee Dee's mom, Angie, is pinned. She's sounds like she's Bruno Kirby's mom. She is just, it's the most New York shit you could imagine. And Tony Napo, who's her dad, has also got it. But yeah, it's there's something kind of authentic about the idea of your accent getting more or less pronounced when you're talking to someone that also has it.
Yeah.
But she's never left, and so the accents just kind of are strobing.
Yeah, I don't know if I will have included the entire clip, but the mom's emphasis on stuff is terrific. After the bit where Grandma Sophie is I use it to Google. Mom is well, hey, Royals, why don't you stay? We got lots of hot chocolate here. You can just hear all the W's.
Yeah. This is the thing that we know too about Hallmark movies. It's no one's can we do it again? But just take some of the Pecorino Romano off the top of it. They don't. If you choose to say it like that, it's going to appear in the film like that. If you decide that your character would be farting at that formal event, the butler will fart and it will be in the movie.
The retake thing reminded me of there's a line in this that I was rolling back and listening to slower and slower in playback on VLC to try to get all the words out, because it's right up there with the kind they put in the can, sure. Right? It was just, I have no idea what he's saying. And I think, the bit before, God help you, but I think what Colin is saying in here is what in Exeter we call a pocket circus. But let me play the whole thing.
Yes, I think my assistant would be just saying what we in Exeter call a pocket circus.
In our house, we call that a Mickey.
Hey, that happened one time that happened. Okay, maybe 2 times.
Look, guys, that's your business.
What did you have down for this? Did you try to write this down or parse it at all?
I at some point, I'm just, when I see stuff like that in a Hallmark movie, there's a part of me that's oh, I hope that Jeb works on that. But then there's also a part of me that I'm just kind of whatever it was, you're allowed to just do it. You can call it a Mickey, whatever. I know that that's not a thing that people are saying. It's not.
I thought like maybe there's another part of this line that unpacks all of it and this is funnier, or like maybe he's adding a tone. All I get out of it by the end is like, we call that a pocket circus, and I'm like, in the UK we say a chaff nick me mobile.
What?
And I was trying to write out other ones, and I didn't get a lot. But in Australia, we call that a bogan's blunder, and of course in Canada we call that Gord's oversight.
I like the idea of it being the New York version of that being the Mook's Gambit.
I think that's it, David.
Yeah.
Is there anything else come to mind, or shall we go?
Yeah, let's do it. It was a pleasure somehow talking for the exact length of this movie about a movie that had nothing worth talking about in it. But yeah, I'm all set.
Dave, can I edit that down?
Go ahead, Jeb.
We're going to get rid of a lot. Merry Christmas, Dave.
Yep. See ya. Merry Christmas, ma'am.
This episode of Edward and Wallace, non-Nazi version, was executive produced by Mac Mashburn, Big Joe D, and all our friends down at the Jasper Group LLC, and by you, the Patreon donor, in conjunction with Vigorous Marvin. Vigorous Marvin. When you're here, you're Hohenzollern. Special thanks today to Drew Fairweather, a.k.a. Crudbump, for our theme music, and to Chris Collingwood of Look Park and Fountains of Wayne for all the rest, except where specified in the show notes. Like, subscribe, rate, and review us. It helps people find the show, and follow us on Blue Sky at itschristmastown.bsky.social. For around 80 hours of bonus material, including Fever Dream, our public health breakdown, and a day's worth of Hallmark podcasts, plunk down 10 cents per day at patreon.com/thisweekinatrocity. Thanks for listening. Merry Christmas, and talk to you soon.
It's not Hallmark Hall of Fame. It's not Hall of Fame. It's not that high quality. There's a Hall of Very Good. If there's a Hallmark Hall of Very Good, sure.
Fucking thing sucks!
Manx.
Do you ever have that where you're just like, you're looking at all the Duolingo options and you're like, it would be so cool to be one of the few people who speaks Manx, but then you're like, I would be one of the few people who speaks Manx. Like,
what if they're all jerks? What if the other 9 guys that speak Manx are all just as bored as I am?
Like, I would love to learn Arabic, but like, what am I realistically going to do with it other than shawarma, you know?
Yeah. I mean, basically, like, sort of part of the thing that's mostly it's laziness, but this like kept me back from trying to learn other languages is that I would use them mostly to like eavesdrop on mass transit conversations and then like blow someone's mind by ordering a sandwich with a perfect accent. Like, I don't have any big plans to travel the world like that. I don't even think I'm going to wind up on the Orkney Islands at all. Wow, if I'm being honest, I'm running out of time.
I'm staying on Isla.
I would, though.